just too much evidence for our Passover rapture. Matthew 27:53, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Jesus rose on Passover, and went into the city. Ruth 3:15, also he said, bring the veil that thou hast upon thee, and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley, and laid it on her, and she went into the city. The barley harvest is us, and the barley harvest is on Passover. Notice, she went into the city on Passover also. And the 6 measures, 6 is the number of man. Luke 22, then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth. The man with the pitcher of water is Aquarius. And again, going into the city. These are all pictures of the rapture on Passover. Now we're all the way back in Genesis 45, because God declares an end from the beginning. 20 plus 25 is 45, 20:25. Then Joseph, that's a picture of Jesus, could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him. And he cried, the midnight cry, Matthew 25, rapture. Cause every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph, doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land. That's the first 2 years of the Shemitah, takes you to 2025. And yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. Again, 2 plus 5, 7 years. 7-year Shemitah. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Egypt is the world now. Haste ye, and go up to my father. Go up to my father. Get it? The great deliverance. And say unto him, thus saith thy son Joseph, Jesus, God hath made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen. And thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And remember, this is before the book of Exodus. And so Passover was invented in Exodus, which is in the future of this story. But I'll bet you $1,000,000 if we can go back that this great deliverance, which is exactly what happened in the Exodus, I'll bet you this great deliverance is also in the time of Passover. But they just probably didn't know it. I'll bet you everything I got it was. It's the same exact thing. It's a deliverance. It's a great deliverance, just like the book of Exodus, where it was actually called, commemorated because of what happened in the book of Exodus. And if you look it up, Jesus rose from the grave on Nisan 17. So Nisan is the first month and would be the 17th day on the Jewish calendar, but that actually adds up to April 15th in 2025, which is the very first day that Passover starts, April 15th. Another interesting fact is if you look up April 15th, which is 415, in the concordance, it's El Elo Yisrael, which means the mighty God of Israel. Pretty interesting pattern there. Also, I've done 419, which is a very amazing number in the concordance. which is the day that the sun goes through Taurus in Passover. Another interesting fact is that the first person to see Jesus rise from the dead was the woman. Well, if we are the man-child and symbolic of Jesus, resurrection, rapture, who is the woman? The woman is the remnant of the seed of Israel. The woman in Revelation chapter 12. They see the ascension. And again, going back to Elijah and Elisha, Elijah ascended into heaven and Elisha was given a double portion. So it's the same idea. And all these pictures are Passover pictures. All of them. So yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced that the rapture is in Passover in 2025. That's where everything hits. 2025, 2025. Hitting. Done so many videos about all the patterns that lead to 2025. And that is exactly 2 years into this 7-year Shemitah that we're in, which is just like the Great Deliverance in Genesis chapter 45. 2 years into the famine, there was a great deliverance.